I think there's a lot of people that just like don't want to come to terms with it. And you know, people don't like change and they don't like doing anything to make an impact on something. And it's like, yeah, you can admit this is happening, but it's your actions have to back up your words in this situation. And I know a lot of people that are like, yeah, racism exists, but what can I do? Like, I'm just one person, but we have to go at this situation as a group. And it's not something that we can just ignore, which is like our biggest problem is getting through to people who just want to choose to ignore it and just sit back.
I know that the school that I go to is very open to having those open conversations about um, problems and certain events in our city. But I also have other friends who might go to um, places that like to push it under the rug and don't like to talk about it, and because they're concerned about like conflict in the classroom or some things like that. And I think it's important to talk about that in school. And with talking about that, you can pull so many different narratives and perspectives from different people who have different experiences. And I think that helps a lot instead of just being like, okay, school is strictly for what's in this book, nothing else. We're not going to talk about anything else. That just confuses kids even more when they get to that point where they're being exposed to things that aren't in those books. You know what I mean?
Thankfully, I had a couple teachers like after the announcement of like the decision of the local investigation of the Breonna Taylor case. They allowed us to talk about it in class, and like I only had one teacher do that. But all of my other teachers are kind of like moving on, and it's like I don't know if they're trying to, because it is traumatizing for like people of color and Black people to have to retell or relive whatever story or experience of oppression or traumatic event they experienced. It is traumatizing to have to like constantly retell that story. But when you're not given the space to at least talk about it once, then you're bottling it up and you don't tell anybody how you're feeling, and all of a sudden it's like you break down. And I was able to, thankfully in my theater class, my teacher gave me the space to express what I was feeling, and like I felt a little better that I was able to get it off my chest, because all the rest of my classes of that day, that was my last class of the day, the rest of my classes didn't say a single word about it, and I wasn't sure how I felt. But I'm thankful that I go to a school that there are people that are open to the conversation, and there are teachers that care, and it's an environment that we can all like talk about it without necessarily having to worry about backlash, I guess.